You said you guys had how can I say, because you don't want to say you recruited, but you did recruit. I mean, you had certain people in there, and they would not everybody can make the team, and so you had a competition.
Right.
But you also had, and you go out to different beaches. But one of the things that I thought was very unique, and really I thought it was a great idea, and I really enjoyed it, was your inter squad tournaments and the mile swim, the row around West Point Island, and the paddleboard around Mosquito Island, is it called? I forget what island.
Yeah.
So
can
you talk, because I tell you that's a really, first of all, you're lucky because you got the geographic setup there. Right. I mean, Lavalette's perfect for that.
Right.
And but talk about how that wasn't there before you came.
No.
So how'd that evolve?
Well, these were new things that we put into place, again, to build camaraderie, to build spirit, to build pride in the beach patrol. And we have a mile swim. Again, you guys used to have, was it King of the Pier in Seaside Heights?
Yeah.
And I think that was one of the first, mile swims in the ocean.
Right. But that was that was for anybody.
Right.
You guys just have it. You have a swim, but you also have a swim just for the lifeguards.
Right. So, but we kind of copied some of that in terms of what we wanted to do. So every lifeguard in Lavalette, there were certain things that you were required to do. One of them was you had to do the mile swim, and we would start down at the Ortley-Lavalette border.
I've done it. I've done it a few times.
And it was, for the good swimmers, it was very competitive. I mean, they were trying to. In those days we had groins that went into the water. Guys would try and swim you into them, run you into the rocks. I mean, it was very, very competitive.
I went over those rocks a couple of times
for the top 10 guys.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't top 10, but I went over them.
But for the other kids. Everybody had to do it, and everybody had to complete it. So it didn't matter what your time was. The important factor was that you were able to do it. Now, we trained pretty hard all season, so for the most part, we would do jetty swims or jetty swims.
Run, swim, runs.
So, yeah, that was big. I loved them.
Yeah.
So, but I had kids, and I actually, they came to me and said, I never thought I could ever do this. It was like an impossible dream.
Right.
We would have guards that would stay back and encourage the slower swimmers to be able to make it, to stay with them, to, hey, come on, Mike, you can do it, you can do it. So there was that kind of spirit amongst all the guards that everybody pulled together. So when they ran up the beach and finished, the smiles on their faces, I mean, they were exhausted, but the smiles on their faces that they did it.
Yeah.
Even if they only worked 1 year, they did it, So that was more what it was about. Yes, we had a little plaque, and you got your name on it if you won the mile swim. But so then to answer your question further, we then decided to have other competitions. So obviously we were big into boats. So we would, one day of the year, we would take all our boats down to the bay front, and you got a partner, and it was very competitive, and you started and you went around West Point Island and back to the beach where we started down by Reese Avenue.
Yeah. Were you assigned your partner, or did you get to pick your partner?
You picked your own partner. I know I rode with Joe Casino many times.
Let me interrupt you for a minute. So I did it with Joe Casino once, and they that year bought one of old Seaside Heights boats. I remember this. The thing was like a 1969. It weighed about a ton.
Heavy.
And Joe and I had to row it.
It was a draw. You had to draw for your boat. See, so
I like that.
If there were 6 boats, okay, everybody in the hat.
Mm-hmm.
I got boat 1. I got boat 2. So they happened to draw that particular boat. And then,
it was fun though. Yeah.
So that was a big to do. That was important. Then we also had the paddle that we put in place. But more importantly, the part Mike liked really about it was the inter squads. And I came up with the idea of it was one day a week. We did it on Sunday mornings, 9 o'clock when we started our training. It was a way of incorporating all the training instead of making, training sometimes can become boring, when you're doing the same things over and over again. And I tried to be creative and mix up the workouts and try different aspects and rotate people into different stations when we did our things. But there were certain things that you had to accomplish during the course of the summer that we had to check off that we did. But anyway, I figured this would be one way for the kids to have a little fun. It would be some competition, and it just grew and it spiraled. Some years I had 3 sergeants. I had 2 lieutenants, one for each end, and I let the 3 sergeants and one of the lieutenants, they took their teams because the sergeants were assigned, so they competed with their sergeant, and that was a way of making the teams. Other years, I grabbed the 4 senior-most lifeguards, and we had a draft.
Oh, that's fun.
And the draft was it was to die for. I mean, these guys would be getting the rosters of all the guys and the girls, and they were ranked. It was like the
full
NFL
scouting reports.
The NFL draft is coming up on Thursday. This was just like it.
You show up to work, they're running a combine.
Oh yeah, so they had it was very enthusiastically met with, and so what I tried to do was to make it fair is we drew for first, second, third, or fourth pick. If you got first pick, obviously you got whoever you wanted, and then, but if you got the fourth pick, you got 2 people. So then it went from 4. You got, so actually you're picking numbers 4 and 5,
right?
And then it went back to number 3 for 6,
right?
And 2. So first pick guy kind of got the 8th guy. So I rotated it through, so it was kind of fair, and they were like 8-man teams, and so they had it, and, somebody would forget somebody. It was like somebody stabbed. I forgot that guy. They got really excited, and then after it was all done, I would get on the airways and I would read off the rosters, and everybody had a name like.
The Blue Jays or whatever.
Shoes.
We had they had little sea creatures or something that they named dolphins or clams or and it kind of rhymed with their last name. So whatever your last name was, you kind of found something that was seaworthy. And then we kept points, and you got 1, 2, 3, or 4 points for that event on that particular Sunday, and we kept a running total. At the end of the season, we had a plaque, and all the names of the people on the team got on the plaque. And that was, in perpetuative thing that we would put little plates on each year. But the big part of it was, because we had the belts, what I did was, and this is what the kids really died for, was if you won the event, you got a paw decal.
It's on there.
Almost like the
look. There's one on there.
It's a paw
the
decal.
Stickers on the helmets in college football. Yeah,
exactly. Right. So the goal was for some of these teams to make somebody go pawless for the season. That was like if you could make one of the teams go pawless, it was like that they were just like
that has much? A paw on it. That one that belt up there.
So some of them, they were winning all the time. And on the middle metal part that Mike is showing you on his belt, I gave him these little paw prints,
Wow.
And they would put them on. And as soon as the event was over, they were like rushing at me.
Where's my
paws? So then I said, okay, just the captain of the team, come up. I had to have them all ready like the night before because I had to hand out the 8 of them.
That's great.
And they put them on their belts. And, it just built a lot of good spirits.
That's why that's such a great place to work, though, Lavalette. A lot of people have good memories. And the paddle board around West Point Island, that thing. I remember because I did it, several times. And while you're competing, right, and you're battling, and they have the greenhead flies, and they start biting your back, and you can't stop. If you stop, you lose, and you just let them bite you, and and you just keep because it's a battle all around, and you're like, and I remember that was just it
was a lot of fun things. There's a lot of things that people remember. There's a lot of great memories. At one point, I founded like an alumni association, and we would have an annual get together at Crohn's, and everybody would come back from the 50s or the 60s or whatever years they were there, and it was everybody, it was just a wonderful time.
What was